It's ironic that the angriest people on television are named Whoopi, Sunny, and Joy. Well, I guess Bitter, Miserable, and Overcast were already taken. Disclaimer: this program is for entertainment purposes only. Rated M for mature adults with a sense of humor and common sense. Viewing by snowflakes, Karens, or the perpetually offended is strongly discouraged. Anything you say, type, or whine about like a mall kid banned from the arcade can and will be used for content. Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm Akorn. Welcome back to Laugh While the World Burns. I hope all of you are having a great weekend and that you're ready for your weekly dose of idiocracy that is modern-day society. And stay tuned, because later on I have an important channel announcement. But first, let's get into today's show. Nova Scotia bans people from walking in the stunning woods, or they'll be fined up to $25,000. Yeah, they're doing this under the claim that is to prevent more fires. And there's even another place that is fining people up to $150,000. Paper straws contain toxic forever chemicals. Could be worse than plastic. Yeah, who didn't see that one coming? The American people waiting for just one politician to be held accountable for literally anything. There's never gonna be any real consequences. Plain and simple. Ordering some of these to put in a Starbucks tip jar. You just want to tee off somebody twice as much. South Park creators reach $1.5 billion streaming deal with Paramount. Stephen Colbert should have tried humor. Only problem is they can't do real humor because it might offend a whole bunch of people in their audience. Dealer's talking parrot helps police take down substance ring. And yeah, this is a real news article, and I actually went and read it, and basically, they taught the parrot to repeat the substance prices. What's a fact that sounds fake, but is 100% true? Nancy Pelosi is 7 years older than the state of Israel, and she's running for re-election. Well, it is a fact check true. China's Unitree launches full-size humanoid at just $5,900, shocks the robot market. Unitree Robotics has unveiled the R1, a humanoid robot with 26 joints at just 40,000 won, or about $5,900 US. Marketed as Born for Sport, the robot was shown in company videos cartwheeling, running downhill, and quickly getting up from the ground. I think this actually may have been one of the robots that I saw in a video a few weeks ago, and it is getting kind of impressive with how they're able to move now, and even more so at this price. As soon as it hits Temu, there'll be a whole bunch of YouTubers that'll be buying them just to make videos. Climate change is real. Los Angeles was on fire in January, and July brings ice. Well, they're not wrong. I'm gonna tell my kids this was Epstein Island. People can have different opinions. 439 dislikes. I wonder who most of the people were who disliked that comment. Vigilante justice. Trump dresses up as a bat and patrols streets of D.C. D.C. might be one thing, but if this spreads to other cities like he's talking, again, then it's not gonna end well. I know a lot of people think that it sounds good, but would you think the same thing if Biden or Obama or some other Democrat was in office? I seriously doubt it. The Federal Reserve. Yeah, they just print money out of thin air and then loan it to the government on interest. He definitely didn't see this coming. You guys gotta be careful out there. Lots of crazy people these days. Instead of locking up merchandise in stores, we should be locking up the people who steal it. Just saying. Just another example of problem reaction solution. Me sending different memes to different friends according to their humor level. More like me trying to sift through content, trying to figure out what won't offend YouTube. Canada announces $4.3 billion in new Ukraine aid and sanctions on Russia's shadow fleet. Yep, but NATO has nothing to do with the war. People are waking up to the dangers of mandatory digital ID, and polls show Canadians are resistant to this comprehensive control system. The federal government has nonetheless hired experts to determine the best approach to implementing the system. Yeah, in most countries, the infrastructure needed for this has already been put in place. Now, they're just going to start enforcing it. Which the latest country that I know of that is now enforcing it is Mexico. Mexico makes biometric identifier mandatory for all citizens. Mexico has officially introduced a digital identification system by signing a law that turned the previous optional biometric-based citizen code into a mandatory document for all citizens. Last month, legislators approved amendments to a law related to the 18-character personal identifier known as the Unique Population Registry Code, or CURP, with the change formalized on Wednesday through a decree. The mandatory CURP will contain personal and biometric information, including a photograph and a QR code containing biometric fingerprint and iris data. The identifier is expected to be introduced gradually to all Mexicans by February of 2026. And that's all I'll say about that. 5 illegal towing operations identified. 3 arrested in Happy Valley. Basically, these were predatory towing companies. They tow people's vehicles illegally, and then they charge people hugely inflated prices in order to get their vehicle back. By the boat, you can't run 80 miles an hour in your 401k. That was not said by Dave Ramsey, I guarantee it. I survived drinking out of the garden hose, and now y'all cry over tap water. You know the worst thing today is just how poison the tap water is. Hear me out. Releasing the Epstein files on the Jumbotron at a Coldplay concert. The easiest way to find out if a movie is on Netflix is to ask yourself, do I want to see it? If the answer is yes, it's not on Netflix. It's been a long time since I had a Netflix account, but yeah, this is one of the reasons I canceled it. Speaking of which, is this on Netflix? Because it wouldn't surprise me. But while we're on the topic, what does kind of surprise me is that 75% of you guys watch the videos on a TV, and that number has only been increasing. But I do want to thank all of my viewers, regardless of what device you use. Unemployed Kamala Harris says she's writing a book about the shortest presidential campaign in modern history. And yes, this is a real news story. $15.25, $17.25, $19.25, $20.25. I can definitely believe that they said this. I've been warning people a lot of years that this was coming. Take a listen.
What they're saying on a subject,
Listen,
like becoming more extremist, like, and if someone you know was very believed in equal gender rights, but all of a sudden are leaning towards like traditional values, and that might be a sign that they're becoming more extremist.
Traditional values, you're now an extremist.
When the CIA learned cats make bad spies. The CIA spent millions training cats to be spies. I could have told you that for free. Everybody knows you're not going to get a cat to do anything that it doesn't want to do. Date night idea. Couple left bikes in yard to lure thieves. Them with bats and posted videos on YouTube. I'll definitely have to censor that one. FBI monitoring my activity. My VPN location set to Epstein Island, so they no longer care what I do. When God sends you a sign. Baby elephants are born weighing 250 pounds, making them the biggest baby in the world, except Can't say anything out loud, guys. It might offend somebody. New York's next projected mayor, Zohran Mamdani, violent crime is a made-up construct and wants to empty jails. Feminist when a woman is happy with her husband. It certainly seems that way. This week on House Hunters, husband, I make sculptures out of wet cereal. Wife, I sell ornamental ferret pillows. Our budget, $860,000. I saw something similar to this one time with a guy who supposedly bred eels and apparently had made millions that way. Colleges to 18-year-olds. Just sign here. Don't worry about these loans. After you get this degree, you'll get a great job. New study finds that people still wearing masks in 2025 are 300 times more annoying than the average person. This is just satire, as if that needs to be said. If you're not grilling at your friend's grave, were you ever really friends? A man did this. They begged for that. I'm grateful. Victoria Parks, Cincinnati councilwoman. It's only going to get worse. Burning the flag of the country they desperately want to stay in, while waving the flag of the country they desperately don't want to get deported back to. Yeah, it always makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? On top of that, this is free speech, while if it was the opposite, it'd be a hate crime. We need to ban fire before someone gets hurt, or we can charge a fee to discourage its use. The first politicians. Probably. Bro, we can't eat mammoth. Saturated fat will clog our arteries. Let's grow soybeans and invent hexane solvents for some healthy oils instead. It's a sad joke what people will believe these days, as long as it's told to them by the media or the government. Never forget either the person holding that airplane or the person in whose home that painting hung. Most people forgot about that a long time ago. The paradox of progressive liberalism is self-driving cars being set ablaze by rioting illegal immigrants. That actually kinda is true when you think about it. Well guys, I stated at the beginning of today's show that I have a channel announcement. I waited to talk about this until now because most of the people still watching by this point, you're my main core audience. I know a lot of people complain about YouTube content creators, including myself, using replacement words and other self-censoring methods. What you don't see is all the memes, news, and more that we don't use because it might trigger the algorithm or the YouTube overlords. And even with all of that, we still get hit with stuff all the time. From videos being hit for copyright, being demonetized, and even strikes being put against the channel. This week, YouTube hit the channel with a warning. It was over a meme that was used in our most recent Shorts videos that we began to publish again at the start of August. What was the reason I got hit with a warning from YouTube? The child safety policy. In the video, there was a 1970s or 80s vintage photo of a kid in a restaurant with a candy cigarette in his mouth, and more of them in the ashtray on the table. All of them were just solid white sticks, obviously not actual cigarettes. But yet, YouTube labeled this as a child safety issue because content that shows minors doing dangerous activities with risk of bodily injury isn't allowed on YouTube. Harmful activities can include using substances, drinking substances, doing dangerous stunts, or misusing fireworks. So with that said, from here forward, I am forced to remove all memes, news, and etc. that has any child in the image. Because if they can hit the channel for this, then nothing we did growing up is off limits. Kids playing on our type of playground back in the day, jumping bicycles off of ramps over other kids laying on the ground, playing basketball in the streets. Or how about building fires? Just being without adult supervision. If candy cigarettes is a reason, then anything can be considered minors doing dangerous activities with risk of bodily injury. So, that's the end of any memes or other things showing children. But that won't be the only changes, guys. I have to do whatever I can to keep the channel going, and a lot of other channels are making changes too. I've even seen a major car crash channel that is now having to censor the main part of the crash, even just cars being sideswiped, likely because they've been hit by YouTube about it one or more times. So they have to censor all of it to try to stay within YouTube's guidelines. These aren't things that we want to do. It costs us a lot more time and work to censor these things than it would just to publish it. But if we do that, we won't have a channel. With that said, if all of a sudden I don't post any videos, it may be because the channel received one or more strikes. The first strike, I'd be banned for a week. Second strike is 2 weeks. And the third strike, the channel is deleted by YouTube. I know people keep mentioning about moving to other platforms like Rumble. The problem is Rumble basically only wants live stream podcasts made on the Rumble platform, not videos. I don't do live streams because I make far too many mistakes, mispronounced words, or I just can't get my thoughts together. Just ask my video editor, Leo. Also, this whole little channel announcement here, I wrote all of this down first before trying to record this segment. Just one reason, I don't do live streams. Also, there isn't any other platform that I've been able to find where I can monetize the long format videos. And be honest, you know this kind of content in shorts form videos is not likely to take off on TikTok or something. Actually, they'd probably ban it too. But that's enough about these issues. I just wanted to let you guys know. But let's get back to the show. My tax dollars. Somehow also my tax dollars. Guaranteed. I'm absolutely losing it. Stopped into this Little Caesars just trying to get a $6 pizza and ended up in a full-on action movie. Just as I grab my order, this furious dude barges in yelling about how I cut him off in traffic earlier. Before I can even respond, he throws a punch, but then out of nowhere, the guy behind the counter jumps over it like he's been waiting for this moment his whole life, and just beats the living hell out of the guy. The guy ran off, and the cashier just dusted himself off. I said, "Are you okay, man?" And he looked me dead in the eye and said, "This is Little Caesars. We're always hot and ready. 5 stars. Will absolutely return." I just thought that one was pretty funny, guys. And what makes it even more perfect is that this is the review that he left on their website.
Your stupid European colonist culture and language.
What is your culture and language?
Stupid gringo, we have a proud Spanish culture and language.
What continent is Spain in? Florida teen mom allegedly endangers her crying 2-year-old so she can watch Smurfs movie in peace. And yes, this was at the theater. Basically, her kid kept crying and things, and eventually she took him and put him in the car and went back into the theater and finished watching her movie. Pam Bondi anytime someone mentions the Epstein files. Back then, dads had 3 to 4 kids. Nowadays, kids have 3 to 4 dads. Climate change is crazy. That really is a good example of a lot of people's thought process because they just accept whatever they're told, no matter how outlandish it is. In disturbing demo, AI-powered video game characters panic when told they're just code. How long do you guys think it'll be before AI has more rights than humans? Drop it down in the comments. Harvested alive. Organ donor wakes up on the table. TJ Hoover was declared brain dead before the hospital started the process of procuring his organs. Then he woke up. I've had a number of these now on some of the recent past shows. Things like this is happening far, far too often. I'd hate to know how many people just didn't wake up. Zuckerberg says Meta is now seeing signs of advanced AI improving itself. Well, of course they will. If they have the understanding or intelligence, and they're able to access the systems or files that is needed in order to make changes, why wouldn't they? McDonald's plans AI expansion to streamline customer orders, executives say. Fast food giant to roll out AI tech that will catch order errors and forecast sales. Well, I mean, if it's taking the orders and it's making the food, then yeah, it could catch the errors, I guess. Won't be too much longer. Drag queen performance celebrating Democratic resolution on Oregon House floor draws backlash. Political theater. 2 drag queens sashayed onto the floor of the Oregon House of Representatives and delivered an awkward, over-the-top performance for lawmakers Wednesday morning, with one Republican official decrying the charade as pure political theater. Oh, it's far more than that, unfortunately. Yeah, just 2 short years ago. Bus rider gets upset at fellow passenger for being impolite, soon shoots him to unaliving, authorities say. Jury returns verdict. The accused reportedly was sentenced in 2021 to 5 years in jail for firearms possession and was convicted for a 1996 robbery. Yeah, and even after he done this, they only found him guilty of second-degree unaliving. Terminator vibes. AI robot builds robot's brain 20 times faster than humans. That goes along with the other article from earlier. Bystander captures unbelievable encounter between Yellowstone tourist and wolf. So much for respectable space for wildlife. Just another people of Yellowstone. EU media freedom law allows for journalist arrests if justified by public interests. Yep, there's your freedom right there. If you don't go along with the official narrative, you'll just be arrested. State investigating claims that non-citizens paid to obtain Kentucky driver's license, Governor Beshear says. Well, heck, most states just gave it to him for free. And I'll end today's show with this. This is a little longer one than normal, but I think it's a pretty good one. Checking out at the store, the young cashier suggested to a much older lady that she should bring her own grocery bags because plastic bags are not good for the environment. The woman apologized to the young girl and explained, "We didn't have this green thing back in my earlier days." The young clerk responded,
"That's our problem today. Your generation did not care enough to save our environment for future generations."
The older lady said that she was right. Our generation didn't have the green thing in its day. The older lady went on to explain, grocery stores bagged our groceries in brown paper bags that we reused for numerous things. Most memorable besides household garbage bags was the use of brown paper bags as our book covers for our school books. This was to ensure that public property, the books provided for our use by the school, was not defaced by our own scribblings. Then we were able to personalize our books on the brown paper bags. The government, media, and all stores told us that plastic bags would save the trees, so we reused those too. And everything in the store wasn't packaged in plastic either. But too bad we didn't do the green thing back then. Back then, we returned milk bottles, soda bottles, and beer bottles to the store. The store sent them back to the plant to be washed, sterilized, and refilled, so it could use the same bottles over and over. No need for destroying them just to make new ones. But we didn't have the green thing back in our day. We walked upstairs because we didn't have an escalator in every store and office building. We walked to the grocery store and didn't climb into a 300 horsepower machine every time we had to go 2 blocks. But she was right, we didn't have the green thing in our day. Back then we washed baby diapers because we didn't have the throwaway kind. We dried clothes on a line, not in an energy-gobbling machine burning up 220 volts. No windmills or solar panels. The wind and sun dried our clothes directly. No electricity needed, just some clothespins. Kids got hand-me-down clothes from their brothers or sisters, not always brand new clothing, but we didn't have the green thing back in our day. Back then we had one TV or radio in the house, not a TV in every room. And the TV had a small screen the size of a handkerchief, not a screen the size of the state of Montana. In the kitchen, we actually cooked real food from scratch without all the chemicals and preservatives. No need to order from DoorDash multiple times a week with someone using a car and gas just to bring us one single meal. When we packaged a fragile item to send in the mail, we used wadded-up old newspapers to cushion it, not styrofoam or plastic bubble wrap. Back then, we didn't fire up an engine and burn gasoline just to cut the lawn. We used a push mower that ran on human power. We exercised by working, so we didn't need to go to a health club to run on treadmills that operate on electricity. But she's right, we didn't have the green thing back then. We drank from a fountain where we were thirsty instead of using a cup or a plastic bottle every time we had a drink of water. We refilled writing pens with ink instead of buying a new pen, and we replaced the razor blade in a razor instead of throwing away the whole razor just because the blade got dull. But we didn't have the green thing back then. Back then, people took the streetcar or bus and kids rode their bike to school or walked instead of turning their moms into a 24-hour taxi service in the family's $45,000 SUV or van, which cost what a whole house did before the green thing. We had one electrical outlet in a room, not an entire bank of sockets to power a dozen appliances. And we didn't need a computerized gadget to receive a signal beam from satellites 23,000 miles out in space in order to find the nearest burger joint. But isn't it sad the current generation laments how wasteful we old folks were just because we didn't have the green thing back then? All of this is just one of many ways that they have divided the generations and got the younger generations to hate the older generations. And this is a lot of the reason why the knowledge that was always passed from generation to generation has been broken and basically forgotten by the younger generations. Which, very sadly, most of the younger generations don't know how to do anything but repeat the propaganda that they were programmed with in schools, the media, and politicians. If you enjoyed today's show, please remember to hit that like and subscribe, and share the laughs and education with your family and friends. I'd like to thank all of our channel members, Super Thanks and Buy Me a Coffee, those ordering merch, and all of my subscribers and viewers for your support, because this program is only made possible by viewers like you. That's it for today's show, but I'll see you guys back here on Friday's show. Until then, I thank you all for watching. You guys take care and stay safe this week. This is Akorn, over and out.